Welcome to Virtual Lunch Hangout at 2:30 p.m. every Tuesday and Thursday. I am today's host, Iris, and I am going to get calls from my friends Adina, Geraldine, and Jessica. The topic for today's show is representation in the media and film industry, and why is it important and how it impacts them as people. The first friend to call in is my friend Adina. So, hello, Adina.
Hi.
So what are your views on representation in the media and film industry, and how does that impact you as a person, and what are your views on its importance? Why is it important to you, and why is it important to a lot of people, and why is it important to the people in charge of casting and hiring people, that people are represented? Or people like you are represented?
I guess, well, first of all, for your first question, when it comes to my view on representation in the film industry, or just the media in general, I feel like right now, there's this huge focus on what you see on screen. But I feel like people should be focusing more on what happens off screen, because I feel like what happens off screen is actually what shapes what you see. And so it's not enough to just have someone that kind of looks like you on screen, because it doesn't make sense to have someone acting out a story that doesn't relate to you at all, but just because they happen to look like you're automatically supposed to agree that you can relate to this person. And so I feel like when it comes to representation in the media, my view would be people need to shift their perspectives to look more behind the scenes. Like the writers, the casting director, obviously, and then the directors, the producers. I feel like there's so much behind the scenes that people need to focus on. But then for your second question, which is why is it important that there's representation in media? I think for me, as someone who grew up in America, not just the US but Canada, but America in general, I don't think it was actually very hard for me to see myself doing other things, because I was already surrounded in this American environment that kind of encourages kids to dream big. What actually I feel like fenced me in was the fact that my parents couldn't dream big enough. And I feel like it would have actually, seeing more Asians in media and portrayed in different roles beyond being doctors, which, sorry Sandra Oh, but if you played something else, it would have been better. Yeah, I feel like that would have inspired my parents to see more of the potential that I saw in other opportunities. So in a way, I feel like I needed the media to represent Asian Americans doing other things that are not typical Asian roles, to inspire my parents, which I feel like is really important as an Asian kid, because you everything you do kind of depends or is influenced by how much your parents approve of what you're doing. So I needed the media to represent for my parents so that they could see me in other roles, which I feel like is a little bit different from what most people say as oh, I as a kid needed to see myself represented on TV. I feel like that's actually not true for a lot of kids who grew up in America. I feel like it's more true that they needed their parents to see what they saw in themselves as well. So,
the Disney animators and the people behind the scenes. Disney has a lot of people behind the scenes that are Asian.
I know.
And doing roles that are not doctors and whatever.
Oh my gosh.
So I feel that makes sense. The parents need it.
Yeah.
And then, but how does it impact? How would it impact your life though? Being represented in media and film.
Well, okay, if I had been better represented in media and film, and if because of that my parents had been able to see the potential that I saw in myself, I would be writing right now. I would be an architect. I know I was doing a lot of sketches that even I would say were like very good for a kid, you know. And I like went out with all these crazy amazing floor plans, and I took art classes with this architect who actually designed the bridge in the Beaumont Hospital. And I actually got really good at it, but I remember my parents coming to me and saying like, you can't be an architect. And I was just a kid. And they were like, you can't make enough money to have a proper living that way. And so I felt like if we had been represented in the media, I would have been able to pursue what I wanted to do, meaning it would have impacted me so that now I would be doing something I really enjoy instead of doing what I would think is like too practical in a sense, computer science. Yeah. I mean, it sounds bad to say that I would have been happier because everyone can say that when they try to reimagine the past, right? You can always reimagine yourself as a happier person if things had gone a different way. So I don't know if that would be the case, but I think it could have been possible, right? Yeah. I would be doing something very differently. I guess that's what I'm saying.
That's cool. So, yeah. I agree with all your points because I literally felt like that too. I literally wrote an essay on this last year about how like if parents saw this representation of like Asians in media, then like Asians would most likely pursue it because we always look at our parents for guidance, and if they say no, then you're kind of like, might as well choose a different path.
Yeah.
But then, if they say yes, then like, yes, I have their full support. I can now do what I want. So that's I like. Yeah, I agree with that.
Yeah.
Well, thank you for your time, Martina. Next friend to call in is Geraldine. Hello, Geraldine. So, what are your views on like representation in the media and film industry, and how does like having representation in the film and media industry have an impact on your life, and also how important it is to you that like there is representation in the media and film industry? You can just answer based on like the film industry in general. You don't have to answer the media part if you don't want to.
So your question was like, what's my opinion on film industry?
I mean representation in general, and like the film industry, media industry. Like, how does it impact you as a person, and also like, why is it important to you that there is representation?
I'm not quite sure about your question. I do apologize.
It's just like how like fresh off the boat. How did that like impact you, and like why do you feel like making Fresh Off the Boat was like really important to like you as an Asian American, or like something like that?
I literally have no answer to that. I don't know how to answer that. I just don't understand what you're asking.
Like, for representation, like having an Asian American that's like around your age or whatever being in the film industry or being in the media industry, how does that impact you as a person? And why is it important to have that kind of person?
Oh, okay, so I just want to make sure. So basically, like, you're asking me, like, if there was, like, somebody, like you said, an Asian American, let's say, in, like, my age in that film, like, how does that impact me?
Yeah, how does that impact you, and why is it important for there to be that somebody?
Okay. I think I know what you're asking. So, how does that impact me? Okay. So, I guess, like, if there was, let's say, it impacts me just based on, I really don't know.
Like, impact your way of thinking, like, impact your career choice, impact your, what else? Your essay topic choice, your, like, you know what I mean, like,
okay.
Your choices in life, or impact you as a person, like, how you feel as a person, how you feel like, oh, I'm finally, like, being represented, like, someone actually understands me, or something, like, that kind of stuff.
I guess going with that, yeah, I think it does show, like, I guess as an Asian American, it does show, like, how, like, what, I guess, like, the same thing, like, what I'm going through, like, in the same way, like, it shows, like, oh, this is what I'm going through, or, it does help me understand better more about me, depending, though.
Yeah. Depending, though. Okay. So, like, why is it important to you, though, that there is that somebody?
I guess because it's, in my opinion, I think it's because, I think it's just because it just shows, like, hey, I'm also this type of person. It's like looking at myself in a mirror, maybe, in such a way, if I put it that way, yeah.
Okay. That's a very good answer. Thank you for your time, Geraldine. The last friend to call in for today is Jessica. Hello, Jessica. So, what's your views on, like, representation in the media and film industry? And how does that, like, impact you as a person? And what is your view on, like, and what is its importance to you?
Okay. So, my view on the media and, like, terms of representation of, like, relating to me would be, I mean, I feel like they could represent things a little bit differently, like, maybe not, like, so negative or so, like, out of proportion to, like, reality, I guess. But I feel like I can still relate to some things and see, like, people like me doing things that I like to do, or I can relate to them, and it makes me feel like not so alone. I think that's it.
That's a very good answer, Jessica. Thank you for your time. Thanks to all of our listeners for tuning in at this time today. I wish you all a very awesome rest of the day.